Hi everyone, welcome to the Roth Livings Sub-Zero Wolf & Cove virtual product demo today. So I want to welcome you from the Denver showroom. I'm Chef Matt Chatfield from the Kansas City showroom visiting today to host you. And today we're going to take a trip down our product line, and I'm going to show you some different options for you to consider when you're planning out your next project, remodel, or build. What you would love to have in your kitchen. What are your dream products, and what do you want to do with this kitchen of yours? So you are able to submit some questions via the chat feature today. So let me know as questions arise and we will try and answer those. So let's go ahead and start off by talking about one of our specialty featured ovens. Okay, this is the Wolf Convection Steam Oven. Now, this is the newest generation of the Wolf Convection Steam Oven, and some significant changes that have been made to this oven are that it's gone from a 24-inch opening to a 30-inch cavity. So we have dual convection fans instead of a singular. We've also added a broiler element at the top of that oven, which allows for some broiling as well as convection broiling. We also have the ability to order this product with a built-in gravity drain and water line attached, so that you're not required to fill that water cartridge. So some great possibilities for that. This oven is very much like our other dual convection ovens in that you pick the style that you like, but also you pick the style that matches the oven that you might be pairing that with. So if you're pairing that with an E-Series or M-Series transitional style, professional style, contemporary style, then we have those models that they all function the same. The difference is that they have a different look, so that you can pair those together. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would I put a steamer in my kitchen? So this is not just a steamer. This is a convection steam oven, so it's an oven first, and it also has the ability to steam. So I'll give you a little example of some food we just had come out about 10 minutes ago. So we did some oven roasted vegetables, okay? And yes, you can do oven roasted vegetables in any of our ovens. What makes this oven special is we roasted these with convection steam at 445 degrees. So we have some nice charring on the vegetables on the outside, but the center of the vegetables are tender. So this is just one of many avenues. I'm going to touch base on just a couple of things of this oven, but I will encourage you, if you're interested in learning more about this oven, that we do have an introduction to the Wolf Convection Steam Oven virtual experience as well, which I encourage you to tune in on, okay? So whether it is roasting vegetables, whether it is rewarming some foods, okay, with integrity, such as some steaks, chops, fresh fish, the reheat mode on this oven does a phenomenal job of being able to reheat that medium rare steak with a hot pink center, okay? I can also do some beautiful breads that look like you went to the local bakery and picked out some artisanal breads from their shelves, okay? Lots and lots of really neat stuff to do, and not everything has moisture in it. We can even slow roast some tenderloin or prime rib, and not just slow roast it, but we can tell it how we want it done and when we want it done in many respects. So lots of really neat stuff that the convection steam oven does. So if you're interested, I do encourage you to check out that virtual introduction, because I will tell you that is a fantastic way to elevate your cooking experience in your home. It just adds so many possibilities with its features. And I will tell you, this is a product introduction today. This is not a cooking class. Once you have this product installed in your home, then I encourage you to take advantage of the ownership experience classes or events that we do in our showrooms that are in your territory, because we Also teach you how everything works. We go through mode by mode of the ovens. We talk about the burner systems and how to heat pans properly, how to cook something low and slow. We go through all of the use, all of the care. There's just going to be really a large amount of information for you to take away. So you're not just grabbing an ownership manual and opening up and trying to find how to do something. You can come have that conversation with the chef in the showrooms, and we're going to teach you how everything works. It's so much more fun to talk to someone about how it works, or even we'll watch some of our videos to see how it works than to read a book, okay? So we're going to move on to ranges and range tops. And with the Wolf ranges and range tops, you have options from all gas, and our range sizes are going to vary, all gas to dual fuel, and also a sealed range top. So here are the big differences. So an all gas range is going to be gas up top as well as gas ovens. Now on the all gas, you do have the benefit of some moisture in the air because that gas doesn't burn off all the water molecules. So you've got some natural moisture for roasting meats, for doing baked goods. The top of the gas ranges is going to have all of the benefits that the dual fuel ranges have as well. So on a dual fuel range, you're going to have electric ovens with multiple features. Now a gas range, you're going to have convection, broil, and bake. When we talk about dual fuel ovens, we talk about 10 specialty modes designed specifically to cook certain things, plus a probe system we'll talk a little bit later about. Okay, and we can mix and match different features on the tops of these ranges. Whether it's gas or the dual fuel, we have the ability to do a double griddle, a single griddle, which is 12 inches wide. We can do a griddle and a char grill. We can do just an indoor char grill. So French top, we have so many options to customize for what you want to do in your home. And you want to talk to the local salesperson and showroom consultant at your Roth Living showroom. Ask them, really help them customize it for your lifestyle. I get so many questions in Kansas City about, well, what do you have in your home, chef? You know, tell me what should I do because you're a chef and you know best. You know what? My family might cook quite a bit different than your family does, and so we really want to custom tailor it to a great fit for your cooking style, not just what Chef Matt has in his home. So we really want to custom tailor it. We want to nail down your cooking preferences and the style, okay? So we are going from 30-inch ranges up to a 60-inch range. So once we graduate from a 30-inch range, then we can start adding a feature like a griddle or a char grill. And from there, in the 48 and the 60, we can add a double griddle, we can add a char grill and a griddle combination. And really, it's just unlimited how many different combinations you want to do. Now, these are built for what you have ordered, so there are specific models. So for example, you know, this griddle does not come out and I put some grates in there and there's burners underneath. I want you to know that on our char grill and on our griddle features, these are radiant heat sources. What's that mean? Radiant heat source is a sheet, if you will, thousands of little pinholes that are fueling that gas. So it's a sheet of flame, and because of that heat source, it's giving you an extremely even cooking temperature, front to back and side to side. Also, it's thermostatically controlled. Right now I have the griddle set between 375 and 400 for some fried rice we're going to do. It's so forgiving at it's turning itself on and off, keeping it at that specific temperature. So I will tell you, we're going to start with some scallops. We're going to sear off some scallops, okay? And then we're going to add a little bit of fried rice to finish it, okay? So got some nice dry scallops that I'm going to pop on here. I'm going to make easy use of it. We're just going to pop them on there like that. And we'll give it a little bit of seasoning. And we're going to pretend we're cooking dinner. We just got home from work today. All right. So guess what? I'm just leaving those for a few minutes because they need to do their job of searing and getting a nice crust on that side, right? While we're doing those scallops, we're going to also make some fried rice. You know, we want it a little bit lighter. It's a nice warm summer month right now. And so we want to have something a little bit lighter than a potato maybe, okay? So we're going to do some peas and carrots on there. We'll just do a little classic Chinese fried rice. All right. Get those going on there. And then we've got some rice left over. You know what? We cooked too much rice. Fried rice is basically a leftovers dish. My wife is of Asian descent, and she taught me, you know, fried rice came from having rice left over, and you don't want to waste it. You want to make something good out of it. And so, depending on the style of fried rice, depends on your ingredients you're adding and even the rice that you're using. Okay? So we'll get that on there. And fried rice is so easy to make because basically it's toasting rice. Okay? Very simple to make. So we'll add just a pinch of some salt, pepper to that. All right? And we're going to do a little bit of soy sauce. So drizzle right now and just a little bit more and a little bit. We're not going to drown it, but just a little bit. So when we're talking about the griddle, I want you to think about anything you cook in a pan with a small amount of oil, you can cook on the griddle. Here's the biggest difference, is that our burners are very efficient and very manageable at controlling the temperature low to high. However, when you're cooking in the higher temps, you're going to be the thermostat. You need to control that temperature by playing with that temperature control up and down a little bit. On the griddle, I'm putting the food on and just standing back and letting the griddle do its thing for a few minutes. Then I'm going to turn the food over. So actually, it makes it a little bit easier when we're doing some quick cooking stuff like fresh steaks, fresh seafood, fresh chops. Maybe the family wants to do some quesadillas, some fajitas, some stir fry. There's so many different things that really come to mind that are going to work good for a cooking surface like this. All right? So now you can do the griddle in a single griddle or double griddle format. When it's in the double griddle format, guess what? You get to have the two temperature zones. So you might be using one side for smash burgers and you're just toasting up the buns on a lower heat level on the other side. So doesn't have to be difficult. We'll do just a little bit more on our soy sauce just to help that toast up a little bit. And I know some of you out there are probably like, okay, when's he going to turn those scallops? I want to see how these look. So let's see how they look so far. All right. Oh, I got a beautiful brown crust on these. Just rolling them over at this point. Use a tong if they start to roll. There we go. Really nice, beautiful sear on these. All right. We do shrimp all the time, fresh fish, whether salmon's a favorite of yours, halibut, sea bass. Any of your fresh fish you like seared at your local restaurant, now you get to do in your home. And it's this easy. Put it on to cook, turn it over, let it sear a little bit more, and we're ready to go. So, very friendly cooking surface. Let's talk about the char grill. I don't have one up here to show you today, but the char grill. If you love to grill, however, you don't want to go out in the inclement weather, maybe you don't have a barbecue center on the back deck or patio, maybe you just want to be able to come home and turn on that char grill and grill 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, cook off maybe some grilled bread for an appetizer, maybe it's a grilled dessert at the end, some grilled pineapples, some pound cake, Lots of different ideas that you can go with. Some grilled spatchcock chicken. Maybe we're gonna do some burgers. Lean on the leaner side when you're doing some burgers on the ground beef, but maybe you're doing some indoor steaks, chops, grilled fish. All of that's very doable on that indoor char grill. So we give you the ability to do something quick cooking with the griddle. You can do some indoor grilling with that char grill. You can also have both of them on your range at the same time, which is really nice just to have those tools ready. You can use it anytime you want. Really quick heating up, 10, 12 minutes, you're ready to cook, and the cleanup is easy as well. All right, let's see how that fried rice looks. Fried rice is looking good. It's basically toasting rice. This rice is already cooked, we're just toasting it. So we're gonna go ahead and trying to make a mess on my range here. I'm gonna pull it over there. Okay, now, when we talk about range tops, a sealed range top, say that you don't want to go with the range, you'd rather have a wall oven, so you can do a sealed range top up to 48 inches, and it's going to give you the ability to have a griddle or a grill or a char grill as well, but it's just going to be that top portion of the range, okay? And you're still going to be able to have all the same full function of those dual stack burners we're going to talk about in a minute. But the nice thing is we get to have all those toys, same ones as the range, but we can have a wall oven in its place. So let's sprinkle these scallops on top. Oh, those look so good. Oh, there we go. All right, dinner is served. That looks delicious. All right, I'm gonna set these aside. We're gonna do a little sprinkle of some crispy shallots on there. And look, okay, what'd that take us? Maybe 5 or 6 minutes, and we've got a nice, flavorful dinner. So not difficult at all. And you're probably saying, okay, but you know what, Chef, that griddle's black and it kind of looks like it's a little bit messy. So, hey, how about we just do a quick cleanup on it real quick? How about we just scrape the food off that just stuck? Okay, I'm just gonna scrape this off, just like so. Okay, scrape that into the trough. I'll clean this spatula real quick. This is just a bench scraper I'm using. We teach you how to do all this in ownership experience, okay? But just a real quick scrape. And then we take a clean towel, go over that, and turn it off and go about our day. All right? That's the cleanup on that. So, wait a minute. That doesn't look like the guy at the teppanyaki restaurant down the road, that when he does all that on his griddle in front of us at the Japanese steakhouse, but he does a clean on it every time afterwards. So you treat this griddle like a cast iron skillet. This is cold rolled steel. This is not stainless steel, which is used in those restaurants. You have to do a deep clean after every use. They have to use more oil. They are not as non-stick as the cold rolled steel. This makes the food almost slippery, okay? Food will literally slip around the griddle because this seasoning takes hold and just creates a really nice non-stick surface. So much different to take care of, much lower maintenance, and it is a fun factor in your kitchen that I think you would love. So char grill, griddle, those are some great additions that you might want to consider when you're getting the selections in for a gas range, a dual fuel range, or a steel range top, okay? So next we're gonna talk about, we're gonna go down to kitchen 2, and we're gonna talk about the gas cooktops. So I'm working on the contemporary gas cooktop right now. And I've got some polenta that I started here, okay? So polenta is like a corn grits, okay? And those can be a little bit tedious, like, oh, you know what, I cook it and it starts to seize up pretty fast and it gets really thick. Well, that's on a higher heat. Preferably, polenta and grits are cooked on a lower temp so that they stay really creamy, then they don't dry out. So these grits I started about 45 minutes ago. And we're talking about 3/4 of a cup of corn grits for that polenta, okay? And I have just been cooking this on low and slow, same amount of liquid it always calls for, but because that's on a very low temp, I started out just bringing that liquid to a boil, added my grits, and from there, I turned it down to low, and now I'm actually using the simmer side of the controls. So let's talk about that for a moment. So on the gas and dual fuel ranges and sealed range tops, all of our gas cooktops, we have what's referred to as the dual stack burner system. And what that means is I have 2 sets of burners on one stack. So the top stack is going to be your higher, hotter flame that's going to go from a high to a low. Now on your more powerful, larger burners, those are the ones you're going to use to boil some water. Those are the ones you're going to use to bring something, some soup, some sauce, some pasta water to a boil right away. Okay, most of the time, you're going to cook in the medium-low settings on the larger burners, medium on some of the bigger ones, and because these are powerful, they are huge in their temperature range. When we turn the knob over to the simmer setting, okay, that's a true simmer. It's actually using a separate gas feed, another finer tube that it can control that feed much better. So a little bit of fuel going through a big line is hard to control, whereas a little bit of fuel going through a fine line is much easier to regulate. So that's when our simmers are really good at those low temperatures. Now, you know, whether it is melting some chocolate for some brownies or a dessert you're making, maybe you want to dip some strawberries, whatever it might be. Yes, you can melt some chocolate, you can clarify some butter. But hey, what about making some grits or polenta for dinner? Maybe you made a sauce for dinner and you don't want it to scorch. That's when you're using that simmer setting. So after you've cooked it, that's when you're letting that slow and low heat keep your food hot without scorching. That's really nice to not have to worry about your food getting too charred or getting too crusty on the bottom when we don't want it like that, right? So every cooktop that Wolf makes has that dual feature setting, okay? So, I'm sorry, dual stack burner setting. So whether it's the hottest hots, which are gonna be your larger capped burners, down to the little fine 9200 BTU burners, okay, all of those are gonna have that feature, and you're gonna have a really wide temperature range for every one of them. So not just certain units on that cooktop. That's really nice to be able to have that controllability so that when you want that control, it's there for you, right? So I will tell you, it makes walking away from a range to attend to your teenage girls fighting and screaming at each other, to the dogs barking at somebody at the door, whatever it might be. You don't have to worry about what's on the range burning or scorching because of that controllable heat, okay? So we have a wide variety of different options, from a little 24 cooktop, 24-inch cooktop, up to a 36-inch cooktop. And we have professional as well as contemporary and transitional stylings, so you can really custom fit that for what you want to do. We also have one that is flush to the counter, that's beautiful, and that it, quote, disappears when you're further away from it because it's that flush mount. So lots of really neat options for you to choose from when we're talking about that. And it's just amazing. I've done polenta, I've done some risottos, And you know, risotto can be kind of temperamental too. You're starting that arborio rice in the pan with just a little bit of chicken stock and a little bit of olive oil, and you're adding a little bit of thyme, and it's kind of intimidating because you don't want it to dry out too much, but you don't want to add too much stock at the same time. And I'll tell you, it's fun to just play around and see how long I can take a risotto. I'll go anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours, 2.5 hours to make a little batch of risotto, just to see how long I can take it. And you know what, when you're not in a hurry and you're having a get together, whatever it might be, it's nice to be able to do that. Now, we did a recipe with some hot pepper jelly today, and that was cooked on the range top. So that's a little example of something we're doing besides just a polenta. Soups, sauces, searing things, sauteing things. You're going to be able to do all of that with that Wolf dual stack burner, and it's just going to really make life easier because it just simplifies it with that control. Okay, so I'm going to put a little pat of butter in that to finish that risotto. Looks good. I'm going to whirl that in, and we're going to go ahead. We're going to turn this down to low and low simmer, just above the lowest low. And you know, when I'm done here, we're off. I might come back and have a little bit because that's still going to be nice and creamy and silky. So that's nice to be able to do. Now we're going to move on to the induction cooktop. Okay. Now I know you see a roast chicken out here in front of me. We're going to talk about that in a minute when we talk about some of the ovens and those options. But right here, we're working with the induction cooktop, and I wanted to show you another technology that is really amazing. They are using a magnet motor below this glass, okay? And so, you know, so a induction cooktop is about that thick in total. These aren't big motors below. These are very high technology motors, but they're causing vibration inside of the pan's walls, okay? That's how induction works. So when I take and put a pot on, it is not heating the surface to heat the pan. It is heating the pan with friction inside, okay? Just think of your hands rubbing back and forth like this. That's what's going on inside those metals, okay? And that's really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over. There we go. So induction, I will tell you, is extremely fast in its heat up and it's ready to cook time. So I'm going to give you an example. I've unlocked the cooktop. There is a lock on it for child safety, but we can now turn on. I have a pot of water here that is still room temp. I have it on simmer, so it's maybe 80 degrees right now, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it up to high. Okay, I've got 2 quarts of water in here, so I want you to kind of pay attention in the next few minutes when that comes to a boil. Okay, we're going to make some fettuccine pasta and a little bit of Alfredo sauce to go with that while we're cooking over here. And I'm going to turn this zone over here on to low, just a little bit of a simmer to start warming up that cream to make that Alfredo sauce. So here's what I want you to know right away. If this was a I apologize. If this was an empty pan, a saute pan, and I set it on the burner and I put my hand in there, just feeling the surface of the bottom, and turn that up to high. This is something I do for clients regularly. I let them control the heat, and I tell them just place your hand in the pan and see how fast it warms up. So this is about a 4 to 5 second warm up, so hot that you can't touch the pan. That's how fast induction is at heating a pan. It's 40% faster than most of my gas burners, okay? Simply because it's all about internal heat. It's not heating the pan with the heat source. It's causing that internal immediate friction. So that being said, I have really quick heating. I have a very green energy source in that I'm not giving off anything, no heat. I'm using electric energy, okay? And what's really nice is that around here, if you're a person that you prefer electric cooking, maybe you can't have gas, in the condo that you're building or you're moving into, this is definitely the direction that you want to lean when we're considering any kind of electric cooktop, okay? The technology on this and the advances they've made in how quick it is, how clean it is, how quiet it is just phenomenal. You're really gonna love the performance of this, and not only does it bring this up to a boil fast, but I will tell you this, if I'm to slide my finger up and down to adjust the temperature, it is as reactionary as if I was turning the knob on the gas. That's how it reacts in the pan, okay? So extremely fast in response, okay? Most of your electric cooktops, when you turn them down, they're gonna take several minutes to drop the heat. So you might need to move the pan off that heat source so that something doesn't burn or scorch or doesn't overcook. You don't need to do that with induction. When you turn the heat off or down, cooking stops. You're done, okay? No need to move that out of the way. So we've got a little bit of water vapor coming now, okay? So we're in about 3 minutes now. So 2 quarts of water, maybe a 4-minute boil at the most. So really, really forgiving at the temperature zones, at, oh, you know what, I'm not ready yet, I'll just turn it off, to back up. And maybe I want to hurry it along. Maybe I don't even want to wait the 4 minutes for that to boil. So I go ahead and hit the boost feature, and I'm borrowing a little bit of energy from one of the other heat sources. That's really fun to think about. Okay, I don't even have to wait a time that's already reduced. I can go ahead and boost it. So I'm now at a boil, okay? I'm now rolling, okay? And in the next 10 seconds or so, this is gonna be a viscous, violent boil, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and I'm just for sake, because I didn't use a large pot, I'm gonna break the pasta in half to get this cooking in there, all right? And I think we'll set a timer. And we'll start to stir that around. And while we're doing that, we've got our cream over here that's just started to come up to a boil. And we're gonna add in a little bit of fresh Parmesan Reggiano. We're gonna stir that in, let that melt. Oh, look at that boil. Can you see that going? I can't lift it off because it'll stop reacting, but literally I've got water popping out of the pot because it's boiling so much. And actually I'm gonna turn the boost off now, and we're gonna go down 1 dot and still be at a boil. We're still cooking our pasta, but we're not all the way on high anymore, and we're still at a boil. So now we're on the 4th dot. I'm on a medium heat, and this cream has come up, and it's now nice and silky. And at this point, I don't want to lose my heat on it, so I'm just going to turn that down to simmer. Now, simmer is just one of many modes that I can use that's going to hold that food warm. Here's one that's really neat on our induction cooktop as well, is melt. So we talked about melting some chocolate or cooking some chocolate for a dessert. So how nice would it be to be able to just put the chocolate in a saucepan or in a saute pan and put it on your cooktop and melt it safely without that butter, without the chocolate separating or scorching. That's really nice to be able to do. So we're able to control temps low, control temps high, to the fact that we even can turn them down, okay? Now here's a fun one, okay? Now I'm not going to lay my hand on there, but I wouldn't even think about doing this on the gas cooktop. But let's set the pot aside for a second. And I have wimpy chef hands. I don't have tough chef hands, okay, that are leather or whatever. Okay, my hands are very sensitive, but guess what? That surface is not getting hot from the motor heating it. The only heat being transferred to that surface is the pan transferring some heat. So that's just a really safe, really cool surface to be able to cook with. This is a glass porcelain top. It is scratch resistant, so if you are doing this with your pan, it's fine to move a pan back and forth. I wouldn't tip and make it a ridge that you're moving it back and forth, but to move it flat like this, as long as the bottom of that pan is clean and smooth, you're fine, okay? I can slide things around like this, and I'm perfectly fine like that. It is a scratch-resistant porcelain glass. Now, what about cleanup? So I will tell you that the cleanup is extremely simple, because cleaning glass, we simply allow for that surface to completely cool. There's an indicator light that lets me know when the surface is still hot. Once that's gone out, then you know what? I'm ready to clean it. And we teach you what agents to use in the ownership experience. But here's the kicker. It takes about 2 minutes to clean the induction cooktop. So now, I get this question all the time. Okay, so why wouldn't I get the induction? Why would I pick one of the gas cooktops, or even specifically because our ranges are so popular, why would I pick the range over the induction cooktop or even the induction range, which we have as well? And it really comes down to if you want one of those features we talked about earlier, the griddle feature or the char grill feature. We do not install those or build those as a feature with the induction cooktops or with the induction range. So that's something you wouldn't need to make the deduction on if that's really important for the styles that you want to cook with your family, okay? So it really comes down to speed, it comes down to technology, but it also comes down to features. What do you want to do? All right, we're almost there. We just got a couple of minutes. I'm going to start to talk about the ovens and this roast chicken you see in front of you while I'm finishing that up. So let's talk about the E-Series oven. We've got the double E-Series right here, okay? We have single and double oven features or options in the E-Series and M-Series. Now, all the time I get the question, well, which one's better, chef? What's the difference? So they are both dual convection ovens. When we're talking about the double oven stack, I will tell you that the E-Series bottom oven does not have the convection feature. The M-Series double oven does have that convection feature. Now, we feature these double ovens in our showrooms so that you can see what they're like and you can see the capacity and see the modes that they've got on them, and they do a lot of really cool stuff. I will tell you, you'll see more combinations of the convection steam oven that we talked about earlier paired with one of our full-size dual convection ovens, a single unit, not a double, because we really believe that you get the most versatility and performance from that stack of the convection steam oven and one of these dual convection ovens. Now, dual convection oven, which one's better? I'm not going to tell you one's better than the other. I want you to pick your styling, because guess what? They have the same modes. They function the same on how they change their heat sources from mode to mode on what you're cooking. They both have the probe system. So I'm going to pull the probe out now. Well, we've got the probe stuck in the chicken here, okay? This is key, okay? When we're talking about cooking proteins, we want to use some kind of temperature monitoring, okay? All of our dual convection ovens and our convection steam oven have a probe system. What's it doing? It's letting me monitor the temperature of that chicken so it doesn't overcook, it doesn't undercook. I don't have to guess, I don't have to get a thermometer out of the drawer, open the door, stick it in there, close it back up, do all that. I can simply walk by and look at the screen to see what my internal temperature is. So always cook your proteins by temperature, not by time. Also, it's going to give you the ability to do some beautiful baked goods, okay, with the addition of steam and the convection steam oven. Without the addition of steam, we've got this multi-grain bread that I made this morning that we baked off. It's got a really nice, hearty, crispy crust, a sweet, chewy, grainy inside. So breads, proteins, starches. I will tell you that yes, we use bake for some things, but bake will be a lonely mode on your oven, because when you find out about roasting a chicken, you're going to use roast to cook that chicken. You're going to use convection roast to cook those potatoes or those vegetables. You're going to use, instead of baking a pizza, you're going to use the stone mode, and you're going to use it as a hearth oven, and you're going to make a phenomenal pizza. It's going to rival any of the pizzerias in yours. I know that everybody's all about the outdoor pizza oven now, and those are neat that they go up to 900 degrees and do a pizza in 2 minutes. Reality, you want to make pizzas with your family any day of the year. It doesn't matter what the weather is. That oven's going up to 550 degrees, and it acts just like a hearth oven. You're going to turn out pizzas in about 5 or 6 minutes that are super crispy, crusty. Desserts and breads on the bake stone. We're going to do dehydrate. We can proof our breads in there. There are so many features on that oven that we can utilize on a day-to-day basis. So like I was doing ownership experience in Kansas City yesterday, and someone said, well, chef, when would I use roast mode? And I said, so when your menu item for that night, when you say, you know what, I really want to make roast chicken. Yes. Or, hey, should we roast some vegetables to go with dinner? Yes. Convection roast. So all of these are examples of using different modes than just bake, okay? So let's get this pasta out of here real quick. And we're just gonna dip it in the Alfredo sauce. A little bit of that starchy water with it. Sorry to get you off the ovens, but I didn't want the pasta to overcook. Oh, this is gonna be so good. All right, just a few more strands. I'd use a colander, but I didn't want to step out, and I actually want to do a little bit of the, oh, and look at this, remember I did this before? That's been boiling for 10 minutes. How neat is that to be able to touch that, all right? We'll swirl that in the sauce and finish that in just a second. We're just gonna leave it there in the sauce because it's not gonna burn or scorch or get thicker. Nice. All right, so back to talking ovens for just a moment. Whether it's the E-Series dual convection, whether it is the M-Series dual convection, okay? The M-Series dual convection is the same one that is in the dual fuel oven, okay? And I do want you to know that as far as convection technology, there was a modification made in the last 6 months by Wolf, and they changed the convection system on the M-Series and dual fuel ovens. And if you're going by latest technology, then I would say that they are the most advanced. However, I will tell you, the E-Series does a phenomenal job with its traditional 2-fan centered. So I won't tell you that one's better than the other. At Wolf, they get really scientific about how accurate the convection is at browning food. And we're talking, they measure down to the millionth of a pixel on the browning of foods to measure the flow of the air, okay? You're gonna be happy with either of these convection systems in your home. You really wanna pick it by a style and also by a control style. Your E-Series ovens are going to have the controls spelled out here, as well as your numeral systems and some confirmations, still doing some touch screen stuff. The M-Series are going to be touch screen, and one of the models has some dials on it. So really, you have several different styles of controls. You'll want to really think about how you like to control your oven and what you want to do with that, okay? So that's something to think about as far as the wall ovens and your options with that, okay? So let's plate up this pasta real quick, and then we're gonna move on, talking about Sub-Zero for just a moment, okay? So we're gonna put that out there. We're gonna do a little twist on the pasta, okay? I should have saved some of the Parmesan to sprinkle on top of there, but I don't know that it needs it. That looks so good on its own. All right, so a real quick 10-minute pasta Alfredo. So simple, controllable. Now, let's talk about Sub-Zero, okay? Hey, company has been around for 75 years. They really know their stuff when it comes to preservation. Yes, the Sub-Zeros are beautiful, okay? Beautiful inside and out. And most models, except for the Pro models, are gonna be able to outfit your custom panels if that's the look you want. Now, let's think, what is a refrigerator or freezer supposed to do? It's supposed to preserve your food for as long as possible. So they really pride themselves on being the best at an even temperature control, which will make your dairies, your proteins last so much longer, you forget about the expiration date. That's based on an average refrigerator in the market. This is not an average refrigerator. Smell the milk, taste the milk, keep enjoying it until it does go bad, because it's gonna last a lot longer in here, I promise you. All right, your meats, your dairies. But then we talk about air quality, the air scrubber system, which is our air filter system. Okay, it's technically an air scrubber. It's not just a charcoal filter that's pumping air through there to make it smell a little bit better. This is actually scrubbing virus, bacteria, ethylene gas out of the air. What gives off ethylene? So cantaloupes, pineapple, peppers, onions, there's a whole plethora of things that give vegetables and produce that give off ethylene gas, and they will get in a food fight or spoil your greens, your broccolis, your cauliflowers. And you know what? They even go so far as to want to let you know what's going on with this, so they actually give you some cards that are inside that tell you some of the vegetables and the fruits that give off ethylene gas and some that are sensitive. So I educated my kids a few years back so that when we put away the groceries, I'll say, hey, remember goes what with what doesn't go with what. And I know that so many families want to use those drawers for their meats and their cheeses, but I will tell you, those are higher humidity drawers that they're going to do an awesome job at keeping your produce on the, it's a higher humidity, so feeding it a little bit more moisture in that cool air, that's going to prolong its life while that air scrubber is doing its job of eliminating the bad stuff that's going to spoil your produce. Typically, the average family sees a double in the life of the produce that they're preserving in there. So don't buy any vegetables that you don't want to eat, just trying to make yourself eat them, because you're not going to lose them, okay? You're going to end up having to eat them. So preservation, that's what it really comes down to. And when we are talking about Sub-Zero, we're talking about beautiful stylings, from the classic built-in styles to the designer contemporary columns and combinations of integrated tall units, drawer systems that all refrigeration, to combinations to freezers, wine preservation. Hey, you know what? There's some extremely famous chefs in the United States that use Sub-Zero in their restaurants because they don't trust any other brands with preserving their prestigious wine collection. So talking about cutting out 100% of the UV, anti-vibration motors, so there's no mechanics that are vibrating and damage any of those corks over time. We also have a cocoa colored interior to cut down on any light, no matter what it is coming in, even if it doesn't have UV, and also a humidity controlled system to make sure that it's not a dry environment in there that might dry out any of the corks during preservation. So that, and talk about variety from a 15-inch up to a 30-inch to a combination unit. There is a style of wine preservation for you and your family that I think you'll love. So it's going to do a great job of preserving and having that wine ready to drink, because what's the best thing about wine? It's great to drink. So the last thing we're going to touch base on is, you know what, at the end of the dinner, when all is said and done, what are we doing? Well, we got to do some dishes, okay? Well, when a dishwasher is the subject, what are the important things to talk about? Will it get my dishes clean? Okay. Are the dishes ready to put away when the cycle's done? Okay? And is it going to last? Does it have good warranty? So Cove is made by Sub-Zero and Wolf in the same plant as Wolf in Madison, Wisconsin, or Finchburg. All right? And the Cove dishwasher is a very attractive, it's honestly a beautiful machine in itself, but here's the first one out of the gate, a 5-year warranty. Nobody in the market touches that one, okay? 5 years across the board, and that's not the end of it. There are other parts covered past 5 years, but across the board, 5 years right out of the gate. It is a connected appliance, as our ovens and our refrigerators are. So many of our products are connected, so if you're an app person, you like to control those, hey, maybe you're going to bed and you're like, did I start the dishwasher? I can't really remember. Okay, go in, check. If you hadn't, you can start it there on the spot if your door is closed and it's got soap in it. So simple things like that. But when we're talking about one of the quietest on the market, Cove actually means a quiet body of water. If you look it up in the Webster's Dictionary, I think that's a cool name for a dishwasher. So extremely quiet because it's wrapped in a thick blanket of recycled denim insulation, okay? And on top of that, you know, we talked about, does it clean the dishes? Yeah. More jets than any machine on the market. Are they ready to put away after I'm done? Because we've got a turbine drying system that's pulling the air out of the cabinet with the moisture. It's condensing, it's using its own moist air. There's no heated dry, so you can put those plastics anywhere. And you know what? When the cycle's done, you can open up that dish machine and the plates aren't too hot to touch and they're dry and they can be put away immediately. So my kids didn't like that at first because we could get the dishes done and put away in the same evening, but now they actually enjoy it because they said, you know what, Dad? We don't ever leave anything in the dishwasher anymore. It's all clean. We get to put it away. So, you know, that's a great testament from some teenage girls even. So Cove is a great option to complete your suite with Sub-Zero and Wolf. It's gonna do a great job at just keeping those dishes, the glassware, the china, the silver, all spotless, multi-rack system, all stainless system. And you know, we talked today about quality with Wolf, quality with Sub-Zero, quality with Cove and all the options, but also I believe we're one of the only companies that advertise on Sub-Zero's website that they're engineering, developing, testing, and building these appliances that they expect you to get at least 20 years of average daily use out of and have fun with them, okay? I don't know of any other brands that are trying to outfit you for the next 20 years with their product, okay? And not only that, hey, we also believe that we're the best in the business. We didn't just make it to last, we made it to last while you have a great time with it. So I really want you to consider our brands and really think through what's gonna be a great fit for you and your family, in your home. There's so many different options. Allow yourself some time to go in the showroom or shop online, your local dealer, and make sure you explore all those options and really get all the answers to your questions so you can have the best outcome in what you're putting in your home, all right? So I want to thank you for joining me today, and I would love to see you back here for any of the other virtual events that we do, and we hope to see you soon in one of our showrooms, okay? Thanks a lot and have a great day.